friends, this is Tricia Brouk. You're listening to Your Beautiful Day on the Gratitude Radio Network.
Thank you for joining us on Your Beautiful Day. I'm your host, Jen Mog, Mother of Gratitude, and thank you for listening to the Gratitude Radio Network. We have one of those shows today that this is very personal for me, and one of the challenges that I've had through my life that keeps looping around. And I realized what that challenge was and how to stop it. And it's today's guest. I need to speak my voice. I need to speak up. I need to say what I mean and have that power. And I'm so thankful that Tricia Brouk is on today's show. Neil, what do you think about this? This is amazing.
I think it's perfect for you. It's a perfect guest, and I will just sit around and listen to your questions and do the great follow-up questions. But I know you're just excited because it just totally speaks to you as we talked off air, for sure.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So let me introduce her, because she has over 30 years of experience in film, TV, and theater. Tricia has used her platform to create a safe, inclusive space for others to learn how to share their stories. And her book is phenomenal. You have to go get it. It's called The Influential Voice, Saying What You Mean for a Lasting Legacy. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today, Tricia.
Jen, oh my goodness, I am so excited to be here. Neil, thank you so much. And for everybody tuning in, we were off air just talking about what it means to be able to speak your truth and share your message and use your voice. And knowing that you all have access to the Influential Voice book so that you can really step into your power as a speaker, as a communicator, means so much to me. So thank you for having me today.
All right.
Thank
well,
you.
Excellent.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. You are so welcome. Go ahead, Neil.
Oh, Jen, go ahead with your first question.
Did he freeze? Okay. My gosh. So tell me how you started with this. What made you what brought you to where you are in writing such an amazing book?
That's a massive question, and I will try to be brief. I am from Arnold, Missouri, and I knew that I was meant for more and that I would move to New York City to pursue a career in dance. I was what I called myself an unconscious competent. I was extremely tenacious and disciplined and hardworking, but I also did not understand that I was in charge of my own life and of my own success. And by making decisions, specifically, I could create my own success and I could basically design the life of my dreams. So I was going through life, just working hard like any dancer does, unconsciously competent, and moved here 30 years ago, pursued a career in dance, had a very successful career dancing all over the world. And about 4 years ago now, one of my friends who had seen my work and was a fan of my film, television, and theatrical point of view, she said, I just booked a TEDx. I want you to direct it. And I thought, that sounds super fun, just like a one-woman show. We'll work on script analysis, we'll work on blocking, choreography. And I thought it was an incredibly rich experience because unlike working with my actors as a director in theater and film, working with a thought leader or a speaker, it's about the message, it's not about them. So it was a new way of working with people. It was a new way of seeing the possibility of having the ripple effect of impacting humanity, which was far bigger than me being on stage, which was limited to the number of people in the theater and the amount of time I was on stage. So I started thinking, okay, this is very interesting. I could actually affect change in the world by supporting people in sharing their messages, by amplifying and elevating the voices of others. Started working with speakers, had no place to put all the speakers who started coming to me. And as a theater producer, what do? We produce shows. What's the best show for speakers? TEDx. So I became the executive producer of TEDx Lincoln Square. I produced that show in New York City for 2 years, decided to move on so that I could have creative control over my own speaker event. And then I was working with speakers, founded the Big Talk Academy, still making documentaries on people who have important messages and stories. And then all of a sudden I realized, what is going on in this country? What is happening in Washington? What kind of communication is happening that is disrespectful, that is undignified? And I just started listening and paying attention. And several people said, you should write a book on public speaking. So I thought I should write a book on public speaking, having zero interest in writing a book on public speaking, which is why I was not getting any traction. Agents didn't want to have meetings with me. Managers, publishers were turning me down. And I realized in that moment, after Ahmaud Arbery's murder came to light, after Breonna Taylor, and then George Floyd, and I sat down and I wrote chapter 1, which was about the systemic racism in this country and the undignified language that was coming from the top and how it damages us and is dangerous. And I got a book deal in 2 days. When I sat down and really thought about why I wanted to write The Influential Voice, saying what you mean for lasting legacy, it is far beyond the tips and techniques and tools with how to be a public speaker. It is truly how to be a good human being with the techniques to be an effective communicator, because every single thing we say has impact. Everything we say could have the effect of love or have the effect of hate, could have the effect of good or could have the effect of bad. So highlighting this for anybody, whether you're a parent, a partner, a spouse, a teacher, a thought leader, an executive, whether you work as a barista, you have an opportunity to be an influential voice. And that is why I wrote this book. And I'm so excited to be able to share it with the world.
You know, it's interesting when you talk about that. It's so true, because when you talk about public speaking and finding your voice, it's tough for people to find their voice. And it's tough for people to, use that, especially in platforms where they feel like they're not being heard, right?
We want to be heard and we want to we want to feel seen. And when we can have the honestly, it's the support, have the cheerleading, have someone believe in us. And that's also part of this book. Is I literally take you through the process where I tell you, I believe in you, you've got this, because we need a cheerleader, we need support.
What do you think are a couple of obstacles that get into people's way?
The limiting beliefs that I'm not good enough, I don't have anything to say that's important, someone else has already said it, why would anyone care what I have to say? All of that comes out. And trust me, it comes out with speakers who've been on 50 stages. Part of what I teach is truth versus lie. Is that really the truth? Are you saying, I'm going to work on my talk next year because I'm too busy? Is that the truth or the lie? Are you putting yourself in a position of self-sabotage because you're not scheduling the time you need to in order to work on your talk? Do you really believe in your heart of hearts that what you have to say doesn't matter? And I say this because, Jen, there's 7.8 billion people on the planet. One of those people need to hear what you have to say, and you could literally change and even save their life. That is how urgent this message is. That is how important it is for you all who are listening and watching today to really step into your purpose and your role of being an influential voice.
Finding your audience. That's the hard part. When you're speaking, public speaking, you have to know who your audience is, right? That's such an important part. So even though it's not a public speaking book, you got to be able to know your audience when speaking to them.
Without question, and I always share this this story. If I'm going to be speaking to a room full of feng shui experts, I have had my home feng shui, but it is not my area of expertise. However, I can communicate with that audience and teach them how to become effective communicators so that they can in turn communicate with their audience, so that they are saying to their audience, when you feng shui your home for abundance, for a healthy relationship, for having children, you will change the trajectory of your life by feng shuiing your home. So I don't have to know anything about the area of feng shui in order to communicate with them. So yes, knowing your audience is really key, but also being able to communicate effectively with them so that they can take what you're sharing away to their community.
Tricia, could you give us some tips on how our audience can feng shui their voice for effective communication?
Oh my goodness. When you remove all of the clutter, literally, from your home, and you remove all of the clutter from your mind, all of the what if I am not saying anything important? What if nobody cares? What if I fall? What if I faint? What if I stumble? What if I forget? And you reframe that to, what if I save someone's life? What if I say something that no one's heard before? What if I say something that is so impactful? I could create complete change in my community. What if I say something so impactful that people change their point of view and we bring people together instead of pulling people apart? That is what I have to say about that, Jen.
Yeah, that's so
So we
true
can
because
sorry, go
when you
ahead.
can lead an audience to what you're looking for, what an important thing that is.
Right. And it comes down to influence, which is not manipulation. Influence means you are sharing your powerful message in service of the people you are talking to so that they might adopt your idea, your point of view as their own, or just think differently. This book is not about having the exact same opinions about everything. It's about learning how to communicate with dignity and respect and curiosity and love, because we do not all share the same opinions, nor should we. We are different, and that makes us special. So when you learn how to communicate with someone who has a different opinion from you, guess what? We can all come together in community.
I love that, especially when you're talking about influence, because it does take courage to be able to say your own truth and to get past the pain that may take you to be to where you need to have that courage of coming through. But would you agree with me that once you write it down, once you say it and it's out in the open, clearly, like feng shui, right? Then you're like released of it. It gives you, it empowers you to spread it.
It really does empower you to stand in your truth as an influential voice. And I say this, and it's very important. When you decide to be an influential voice, you also must be prepared for feedback and for criticism. And you must trust that it doesn't matter if everyone likes you. It matters that you reach the one person that you're meant to reach. So if you are a parent and you are sitting across the table from your kids and you are influencing them, they might not like you in that moment, but that's okay. If you are sitting across the table from your spouse and you are influencing them, they might not like you in that moment, and that's okay. If you are influencing as a thought leader and you've got people giving you negative feedback on social media, it's okay. And one who steps into the role of becoming an influential voice must trust and align with the importance of your message so that all of that extra noise just falls off.
Mhm.
Can you give me some examples of some influential voices that you feel that are out there right now? They're providing good value.
Well, the Obamas for sure. I mean, Michelle's book, their production company, they're making really great documentaries. I would say that, let me think here. I'm a huge fan of Deepak Chopra and what his message at running for me has a very at the moment. I also love my voice. I think that who is an award-winning journalist at ABC Philadelphia, she has a very influential voice, and she is extremely forthcoming and potent in her conversations about stopping hate. She wrote the foreword to my book. And I think that's a really good example. She is coming forward about hard conversations, and she's relentlessly coming forward about hard conversations. And I am definitely an ally and am in solidarity with her. So that's something that we come together and have an influence on.
I'm
Go,
sorry, Neil, I
Jim.
thought you were going.
Good, no, go, Jim.
Thank you. I love Michelle Obama's book. I loved her Netflix movie. I thought it was wonderful, and that's just not hitting the surface. And I just love her to death. And one of the things I wanted to ask you is, if someone has a purpose or a calling, what do they need to do to start off so that they can be an influential person, so they can speak their truth?
When you are clear on your purpose and you get up every single day with that purpose, value, and mission intact, there's no stopping you. Every single thing you do up in the world can align with that purpose. And it stays your North Star, it stays your heartbeat. So if you are going off track for whatever reason, you're tired, you're overextended, you have a million things to do with your family, if you go off track and you come back to the purpose, to your values, and to your mission, it will keep you focused on being the influential voice that you want to be. And I think that's a very great thing to remember, is once you align with your purpose, your values, and your mission, if you weren't your best self, guess what? Do over. It's not about perfection. It's about, I was not my best self today. I would like a do-over. And let's be clear, I'm about to be for 12 years on June 27th, an amazing man.
Tricia, that's amazing. When you were a little girl, did you write a lot? What were you like?
I was obsessed with dance. I was obsessed with ballet. I watched Kelsey Kirkland and Baryshnikov on PBS do Swan Lake. I had ballet posters all around my bedroom. I read dance magazine. I would sit in the splits while I watched television. And all I could focus on was getting my legs higher, doing more pirouettes, winning the dance competitions, and when could I get to New York City. I never wrote anything until somebody reached out to me, and I had been directing shows, musicals, plays, and somebody reached out to me and they had seen a burlesque show that I had directed and choreographed in New York City. And they said, I think you would be the perfect director for a parody on 50 Shades of Grey. And I thought, that's very interesting. I haven't read the book. Let me do a read and I'll see what I think. And I thought I could parody this book very easily. So who's my writer? And the producer who pitched me the idea said, I'll try to find you a writer. And it took too long. I was like impatient about it. I wanted the project to happen. So I said, I'll write it. So I sat down and I wrote my very first musical, which is from the book. Christian Grey calls himself in the book. And for me, it was an anthem for empowering women, my musical. It was a complete parody. I found the book offensive. I found the book ridiculous. When you are a college student and you don't have a computer, it's just ridiculous and it's unempowering for women. So I wrote this musical, 50 Shades of Effed Up, produced it, and it ran for several months in New York City. And then I decided to write my second musical, which is called Committed. And I decided to go a little bit more serious. Yes, it's still funny and entertaining, but it is about mental health. I wanted to give voice to folks who are struggling with mental health issues and challenges. So I wrote a musical about 8 patients at a psychiatric clinic in New York City in 1982. That also was produced and had an incredible run in New York City, and also it ran in Florida. And when I realized that I had a skill for writing, it really was just an extension of all of my work that I had done as a performer. And I've used that technique to also help all of my speakers write incredibly theatrical keynotes and incredibly theatrical TED Talks. So my lens and how I see the world through my performing arts background is what I call theatrical academia.
You are amazing. Oh my God. Just,
Oh my
you are
Jen. Yeah,
everything.
exactly. You wish you had a part two with her for sure.
I do. I really do. I want to plug you into something that we're working on for the burlesque. I
Yes.
love burlesque shows.
So you'll have to talk to her about that. So I kind of will close up
About
to
the
you. Finish up.
choreography
Yeah,
for what you know I'm
exactly,
talking about.
exactly. You'll talk after that.
That would be,
You're
oh
getting.
my
I'll talk
God.
offline. So I guess Trisha, what ultimately looking at all this coming up, the book. What other projects are going on? Just not just your book. Anything else going really right now?
The Big Talk Academy is my 12-week signature speaker intensive, which is virtual. And those culminates in a virtual showcase. And actually, my speakers are being featured on my YouTube channel starting next week, June 28th. You can watch all the speakers, which is the Big Talk on YouTube. The Speakers Salon is finally happening again in New York City. We had 0 salons in 2020, and I'm so excited to be able to get in the theater with my speakers starting in October. And I am also thinking about writing another book.
Awesome. So Jen, you have to ask that gratitude moment now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, this has been my gratitude moment. I'm just taking it all in from, me questioning a couple hours ago and getting there's tornadoes going over you, isn't there, Neil?
Yes, there probably is.
And I would
Sorry, go
Just
ahead, Tricia.
we can piece it all together. Continue.
You can find me at triciabrouk.com, and I would love to offer all of the listeners and the viewers the first chapter of my book for free if you go to theinfluentialvoicebook.com/chapter. And if you want the whole thing, you can grab it on Amazon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening in with us today and being with us with Tricia and Neil. Neil, you are always amazing.
Thank
You
you.
always bring the right person at the right time, and you are just guided like that. That's why I love you so much. And thank you, Tricia, with your gut and being guided into this area of life. I can't wait to see what you do next and how you transform New York City, because we need the Big Apple back. We need it.
We're coming
It's
back.
coming back. Bigger than ever. Bigger than ever.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate you guys. So wherever you go today, remember to bring gratitude with you. Have a smile, look up, and remember that you are blessed, you are loved, and you are sacred. Mwah. We love you. Have a beautiful day.